3-3. Ken Scott looking to get to 500 with a victory. He would get to 2-2. Referee Tim Ouimet going through the instructions. Michael Riggs looks pretty muscled up. We hear that Ken Scott was in shape and ready for this fight, and we will see 2 5-minute rounds. They touch gloves and we are off. Ken Scott in the gray trunks, Michael Riggs in the black trunks. Both stand, an inside leg kick by Scott, countered by 2 leg kicks by Michael Riggs, and then a good side kick by Michael Riggs as they stand, and now Riggs with a big body slam down on Ken Scott, and now it is Riggs being cornered by Bryant Craven, and Craven belting out instructions, and he works out to the side on Ken Scott. Ken Scott has the right arm around the neck of Michael Riggs, and Riggs tries to pull the leg, and he does, and now he will try to peel away the arm and get out of this guillotine choke attempt, and he does. Now he has the left arm controlled on Ken Scott, working from his half guard, and now it is Michael Riggs that will try to maneuver for the Kimura, and he has that one in. It's defended well by Ken Scott, but that looks like it hurts. Ken Scott, though, still hanging in there. His arm not in jeopardy yet, but sooner or later, there it is. If Michael Riggs would pull the elbow towards the body of Ken Scott and then upward, I believe he would have finished with that submission. He did not. Now he works Ken Scott outward from the fence of the cage of combat, and he has him mounted. Now strikes with the right hand. We're open in the opening round right here. Steve Alley, glad to be with you in this main event and throughout this event this evening. It has been a good one, and we are in the main event. Michael Riggs now with the forearm across the face of Ken Scott, and Ken Scott now being worked back up against the fence of the cage of combat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 forearms, shivers if you will, by Michael Riggs, and he continues to work. There is another forearm or elbow if you will, and his corner people belting out the instructions. They're right in front of him, and it's easy for him to hear just what they've got to say. And now 1, 2, 3, 4 strikes, and now here comes a flurry. Raining down the terror is Michael Riggs, and Riggs looks pretty good here. He has kept Ken Scott at bay with several strikes. Tim Ouimet looks on. Now you can see a little bit of blood now on the face of Ken Scott. He is taking several shots, and then a big overhand by Michael Riggs. Ken Scott looks up, and now continuing to rain down the terror is Michael Riggs in this main event, and he's doing a pretty good job of posturing up and controlling Ken Scott, trying to get up. He did it once before, now he tries to get up. He's about a quarter of the way there, but in the process, 1, 2, 3 strikes with the left hand by Michael Riggs, and Tim Ouimet continues to look on, and you can hear him say, "Protect yourself, Ken." He's checking to see if he's okay. Evidently he is, and now back down they go, and Michael Riggs now controls the right arm of Ken Scott here in this main event. Now mounted, Ken Scott with an up strike that landed, but he takes a couple on the way down, and now a big overhand, 1-2 by Michael Riggs. Riggs having his way here with the striking, and Ken Scott looks up at a barrage of punches here in this main event, and if he doesn't protect himself, this fight's close to being over, and it is. Your winner in the main event by referee stoppage due to strikes, Michael Riggs.
Ladies and gentlemen,